You want to start a live event? Yes. Starting the live event. Alrighty. Is everybody there?
Yeah, can you guys see my my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
What about like is Nydia out there? Laura Connolly out there? Can others see?
I don't see them on the
I don't
invite.
see them in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent them a separate invite because there's an attendee link. So Alex, can you like call Nydia and see if she logged into the attendee link? Because that's the link that you have to go to. And then I'm gonna like start the Q&A, make an announcement. Okay, so I'm gonna make an announcement. Thank you for joining us today. The conversation will start momentarily.
So Nydia said that she's getting a note that says the live event hasn't started.
Okay. So now it has. Oh, and there is like a 20-second delay, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I just texted her.
Let's see. So I have 6 new. Okay, I see Nydia. She said, "Can you see me?" So I see her message. So I'm gonna publish. And do y'all see her message, Chris? It says
no, that's the tricky thing. Like right now, I can only see my presentation. I can't see like the notes or Q&A or our little chat that we're supposed to be able to see.
I can. So I see Nydia, and I just published it, and she says she can see it. Hi, Nydia.
Show taskbar.
Like this if you can see it. Okay, because it may just be a delay.
Yeah.
Like this message if you can see it. Like, and Paul does this message if you can see it. Oh, Kyle said he can see it. Kyle is listed as a moderator. That's good. I got 7 new messages. People are chiming in, it looks like.
But what do you guys see?
So I see. So did you open up the Q&A, the message box or whatever? Because
I did. Yep, I did open up the message box, but now I can't see my presentation.
Oh, I can see it. You're at the main slide, and then you took it down because it said now this live event will continue in a moment.
Uh-oh.
I think it's hard for Chris Chris, were you sharing your desktop? Was that your presentation, or was that when?
Oh, now it's back up. Now it's back up.
All right, something is being shared in the live event. Anything you share, replace
Now
it.
it's gone again. Oh, this is weird. Lee can see it. Somebody else. I don't know who else is out there. That's one of the challenges. I don't know who else is out there.
What can you guys see now? It should be full screen. Can you guys see it?
Yep, yeah. I can see it.
Yep, I can see it also. Full screen.
Okay. So for right now, I'm not able to, and it's probably okay. I can only see my full screen. Like I can't, so I can't, before Shonda, I could see the chat and even have an internal chat. And like I can only see my screen. Can the I just saw like Sonia was on. Can the participants see my screen?
Nydia can. Steven is logged in as an attendee. Sonia is on. And Sonia is on as a
I'm sorry, can they see my screen and hear my voice?
Let me ask. Someone says, I see the whole computer screen. Steven says, I can see it. Nydia says yes. And Nydia says, she can talk, but I don't think she can. So people are seeing it. And I'm just going to publish out their messages just so they know that I see it. Nydia says she can see the PowerPoint. Eric said, I was able to log in this time. The first time there was a delay and there was a note that the meeting had started yet. So I'm publishing comments. Who all can see comments other than Chris? And can they hear me? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
I can hear you, Chandra, and I can see
Okay.
comments.
Okay, Nydia, can you hear me?
She said that she
That'll-
can hear you, but that we can't hear her.
Okay, that's
Right.
right. That's right.
But can they hear me? That's the part
Yes,
of, okay.
Yep.
I think they're hearing this whole conversation.
I hear it. I mean, that's good to know.
It's good to know.
Yes. So that, because it could be
Laura
too
Connolly just called me on the other line. I guess what happens is I think if you can come through on the web interface through Teams, it
Mhm.
brings you into what the public must go through to access this. So I think
No.
Laura came through on the web interface.
That was intended though. I sent Laura I only sent her the attendee link because I
Okay.
wanted them to come in through the attendee so I can get a feel for how people experience it on the other side.
Let me see if she's over. Let me click back over real quick to her because I think it's still waiting to start. So what do you want
It
her
should
to do?
be up. Okay. So it should be up.
Okay.
That's
Let
the
me
thing.
call
So tell her I'm gonna put an announcement in the chat to see if to have them let me know if they see the presentation. Like this message.
And some of us, what we could do, I'm gonna try and jump on as a attendee on my phone. Although
Okay.
it says something's wrong here. There's a 404 error.
So you have the attendee link? Remember, guys, it's two different types of links.
Yeah. No, I'm just clicking on the link that you sent the attendees, I think.
Okay, good. The second invite that we got.
Yeah. Yeah, but it says that there's something. It says something's wrong.
So I
A 404 error. So I don't know.
did it. I did it and it's working and I can hear you talking.
I'm just clicking on the link that you sent.
And that's the delay.
Okay, good.
And that's the thing. That's the thing we have to factor in is the delay.
Yeah, but it says that there's some.
Okay, so somebody just liked it and said they can see the PowerPoint. I'm not sure who that was, but we got like 28 messages in here. That part is working. The chat is working. It's hard to scroll through them though, so that's going to be interesting. It'll be important to have someone help facilitate that. Lee, can you see the chat? The ones that say new but not published?
Affirmative, there's 27 of them.
Okay, yep, that's right. Jason Balin from Balin can see it. I can see everything under the feature tab. They can hear everything. I clicked the attendee link exactly as a presentation. I waited and invited in. Alrighty, so do you want to run through it like just real fast? Everybody seems to be, they can see and hear everyone. They just can't speak back to us, which I think
Okay.
is what we wanted, right?
So I think what we want then is for everyone on the presenter and producer side to mute.
Yep. So I can mute all, or if I mute all, then you can't unmute. So everybody has to mute themselves.
Okay. And I think this is what she was saying, like I feel like I'm sort of on Mars right now, but thank you all for joining us today. We are gonna walk you through the College Park Airport Safety Project. And I'm Chris Fanning. I'm the Chief of Natural and Historic Resources Division, which is part of the Department of Parks and Recreation for Prince George's County. The first thing that I want to talk about are, well, let me just sort of say, okay. Just to take a step back, this is a continuing work program that is that it aims to address height restrictions and barrier and oh my God, guys, I'll get this together. But all right, so the goals are for this project: the safety, of course, of our public and pilots, environmental stewardship, enhanced community amenities, as well as, last but not least, improved communications. Before we jump into the details of the plan, I think it's important to really recognize the historic significance of the College Park Airport. It is, in fact, the oldest continuously operating airport in the world and is known actually as the field of first for many reasons, including the most recent centennial celebration of the first U.S. postal airmail service, which first took flight in 1918. I think one of the things we've all learned through over the last couple of months is that the community might not feel as connected to the airport as they should. So I'll be working with my team over the next year and beyond to make sure that the community views the airport as an asset that they have access to and that they feel not only connected but proud of this crown jewel. Practically speaking, there are federal and state regulations that we have to follow. Specifically, trees in the designated areas near College Park Airport must be trimmed every 4 to 8 years. And one of the things that we've heard time and again is, you know, this tree trimming doesn't seem as the same way that it did. This tree trimming seems a lot different than it did 8 years ago. And in fact, there's a lot of truth to that. A couple of things I'd like to point out. One is the last tree trimming was 8 years ago. And so that's a lesson learned for us. And over the course of this presentation, you'll probably be hearing lesson learned quite a number of times. The last tree trimming was 8 years ago. And perhaps if we would have trimmed 4 years ago, there would have been less impacted trees. Second, and perhaps even more importantly, is the FAA began strengthening and increasing obstruction restrictions for small airports in a couple of different ways. One in terms of allowable height and another in terms of impacted area. The impacted area is significant. If you look back in 2012, that area was about 20% less than we have to trim now. So we this year have to trim about 7.2 acres more than we did 8 years ago to meet these stricter requirements. In addition, there's a height limitation that is new going forward from 2012, and that is that 200 feet from either end of the runway threshold is really kind of a zero tolerance for any height obstructions. So that caused us a couple of months ago to remove 387 trees to meet these stricter requirements. After that removal, we conducted a number of environmental stabilization measures to include stake straw bales as well as annual rye and soil stability efforts. So let's dive into the details of the mitigation plan. The first is to address something that I think is a misunderstanding perhaps out there among the public, in that that the tree trimming is going beyond the limits of FAA requirements, and that's in fact untrue. The tree trimming that's taking place right now is simply required for our ongoing and unchanged airport operations. All of the mitigation work is in compliance with federal and state regulations, and we're actively in communication with those entities you see there, the Department of Environment, Army Corps of Engineers, et cetera. And in fact, we've hired a third-party independent entity to ensure that best management practices are being followed and that environmental regulations are met. It's important to note that our updated approach includes minimal, if any, ground disturbance. There will be limited machinery and expanded hand tools in an effort to minimize any and all impact on the environment and the canopy. Going forward, as I mentioned earlier, and this is an important point, that trimming will take place every 4 to 5 years instead of every 8, resulting in less impacted trees. This revised plan will in fact mean that no additional tree removals should be necessary, but it will include modest to heavy trimming. But we know with the heavy trimming, some of those trees may not survive. So we'll be conducting biannual tree monitoring and mitigation efforts for any additional tree loss. So let's just give an overview as to the trimming impact counts by zone. Here you see the runway with the zones A through G with the counts of trees being trimmed. And here is the tree count per zone by amount trimmed. You'll see 80%, if not more, of the amount trimmed will be 20 feet or less. But there will be some need to trim more heavily in some of the zones. The other side of the runway, you'll see again zones A through F with the number of trees being impacted. Again, by the amount trimmed, you'll see a lot of zeros, and the vast majority are actually even under 15 feet, but certainly under 20. Here's the roll-up. Approximately 3,000 trees will be impacted, and here are the number of trees by amount trimmed. So we know that there is going to be continued impact on trees, but we believe our commitment to community is a strong one. A total of 1,500 trees will be planted, 900 more than is required by regulations. This represents a 4-to-1 ratio of trees replanted to trees removed. The City of College Park will be reviewing these plans, and all of the trees will be planted in and around the City of College Park. Many folks are concerned, and rightfully so, about our survivability strategy. Here are the 4 pillars of that strategy. There'll be a phased approach that we'll talk about in a minute. The species selection and size will be focused on tree survivability, and we'll have sufficient water support and deer protection. But again, recognizing that every single tree won't survive that we plant, despite all of our efforts, we'll be conducting biannual survivability monitoring and mitigation for any tree loss. Here are the phases. We're actually already have started planting the first 100 trees. Phase 2 will take place this fall. Phases 3 and 4 will take place in 2021. Here's the first phase that you'll see. Zone 2 and Zone 1 have already started to get tree planting has already begun there. Here are the Zone 4 and 5 that will take place in the fall. Zone 6 in the fall, 7 and 8 in the fall, 9 in the fall. In addition to the tree replanting plan, we know that we want to enhance some community amenities, including 2 20 by 20 permanent shade structures in Old Calvert Road Park, and we'll be updating the disc golf course, including custom artwork, such as tree sculptures. Last, and as I said before, not least, we are as we speak putting up interpretive signage so that you, the public, understands what's taking place and why, and we'll also commit to quarterly online progress reports. One other thing that I want to mention as we look ahead, perhaps some of this confusion could have been addressed if we would work more closely with our community partners, and that's what we intend to do, plant a partnership with the City of College Park, the Town of Riverdale Park, and the University of Maryland. We think we have an opportunity to create a shared vision that will include collective action plans to increase canopy, address stormwater management, and even enhance habitat. And we'll be meeting with these colleagues quarterly to develop strategy and report on progress. All right, that wasn't the cleanest, but I raced through, but could you guys hear me? How did that, well, I won't even ask how it sounded, but did it look all right? Can the folks see it? I am super flying blind as I'm presenting this, to be honest with you. It's kind of disconcerting.
Hey, Chris, so people are seeing it. I don't know why there's an echo. But Nydia, people are seeing it because even Nydia asked the question, which I'm going to pretend like she's a resident who raised the concern. So that's a good question, how we want to handle those. But she asked, like, who is paying for the planting? Are we doing any partnerships with existing efforts planting trees?
These are all absolutely new trees to mitigate and to address this tree project, the tree obstruction project for the airport. And so the department itself will be paying for these trees. We know we've got great partners out in the community that are already planting trees, and we of course support that. But we wanted to devote this tree investment to offset the trees that will be impacted by the airport project, and as I mentioned, plant 900 more trees. And so we're certainly open to partnership participation, but this is absolutely a community commitment by the department.
Awesome. Another question a resident posed is, why are we doing this? Can you provide an explanation at the beginning of this?
Yeah, I screwed that up. So I'll absolutely do sort of an overview and setting the context of everything. Leading off with this is a tree removal project that is required by federal regulations to ensure the safety of our public and private pilots and public. So I'll get that opening dialed.
Hey, Chris.
Great.
Hey, Chris, this is Kyle. When you're doing that, can you also add, we talk about the history of the airport, but I do think it's important to talk about present day, how it's a transportation hub, and how like a county police use it for public safety with their I'll get the name right, but their helicopter units based out of there. I just want to make sure we tie in the history of the relevance of the airport and then the present day relevance of the airport.
Yep.
And I'll send you one or two blurbs.
Also to note in the live event Q&A, so Lee, I see you posted a comment. I'm glad we're finally communicating properly to the public. I would caution us from commenting in that unless we're responding to a request from the resident, because whatever we say is open to everybody to see.
I commented that way as if I was the public asking an obtuse question.
But they wouldn't be able, I would need to approve theirs first.
I
That's
got
the
you.
thing.
So
Yeah.
I understand. So in other words, because I'm part of it, mine posts automatically. If I was public,
Exactly.
it would have to be vetted by you.
That's right.
Actually, can we pause on that for a second? Because this is confusing enough. So I think, Shonda, you and I talked about this earlier today. I really feel strongly that we should, if I can answer it, I will. And if I can't, I'll say that's a great question. We will update our Q&A to address that, and we'll reach out to our subject matter experts, because there's no way, I don't think, Shonda, that like multiple people you can be like, hey, Lee, what about this? Hey, Phil, what about this? And I just feel like it buys us some time, and it really allows us to provide some tight answers. And I'll say up front, and again, I've been really thinking more about the City of College Park presentation tomorrow than this one. So I promise you, much more prepared. And so I'll say at the beginning, at the end, we welcome questions, and we'll get to as many as we can. For those that we aren't able to get to or require greater detail, we'll respond directly to the individual, as well as post on our FAQ.
Okay, that sounds good. So in the actual of doing this, when I see questions come through, do you want me to just say them to you and then you respond?
I think so, because I think,
Okay.
and if we could limit it to you and me, and
Yep.
so you know which questions, I think good enough, better than anyone probably, which questions are either coming up that you see repeatedly and that I can answer safely,
Yep.
or
Yep.
one that you really think that requires a subject matter expert. And so if we can kind of limit the presenter to me and maybe Kyle just as the backup, and then Shonda, you, and if you need Alex or whoever, just as a backup for you on the producer side. But I think we should limit it to you throwing questions to me, and me either answering them or deferring to a subject matter expert at a later date.
Okay.
Does that sound right? And folks that are listening in, if you want to provide comment, yeah.
Sonia asked that we do add the number of staff that are online listening in the intro. So in your intro, say that, you will hear from me and Shonda Washington, but we also have staff online who have joined us as well.
Okay.
I would only pause on that just because we're trying to contain the message and not have too many of us chiming in. So if the public thinks we have a team of people here to answer all these questions, they're gonna wonder why we're not just answering the questions. So I like what Chris I like where Chris is going to, which is, we're going to be taking questions real time as much as possible. Any questions that we want to provide more detail, we will provide follow-up written responses at, within whatever, 48 hours or some time frame. Otherwise, it's going to look a little wonky saying we got a team of people here to answer questions real time, and then
they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with Chris. I think we contain our message. We don't have too many people coming in, from different angles, and then we provide very good, thorough written responses for anything that might be need a little more detail.
Okay, I mean that makes sense too. That makes a lot of sense.
And I think, like you said earlier, we do it in the FAQs, so we need to just make that clear at the end, unless we want to do individual responses, that the responses will be on the FAQ on the webpage or wherever it's going to be posted by, within 48 hours or however much time we need.
Right. So Ray, for you, because I think I saw an email from you that said it's maybe not as easy as we think to update FAQ. I don't know if it's easy or not, but knowing
that was
also
something
that
else.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, we good there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hey, real quick to Alex's point, are we is the better approach just to take everyone's questions and provide an FAQ within 48 hours and not even get into any response real time? Or is it a blend of the two?
I think it's a blend of the two, because I do think if someone joins, they want to know that you're going to answer a question that they have. And I think and I'm hopeful that some of the questions will be, easy questions that Chris can answer, and the others, we'll have to punt.
Sounds good.
All righty. And I'm looking through the comments from the people saying they can't see the chat, and you can't see the chat because I haven't published it. I'm only publishing some of the things, but just so you can see what that experience is.
Yeah, and I think I'll have, I might have 2 laptops. I see somebody is saying, can Chris have her cell ready just in case? Yep. I actually try, Shonda, I think you and I, maybe Alex and Ray can just kind of go through this again. So we've got, folks out in the participant world and you and I. I don't know that we need everybody on now that we've decided sort of how we're going to handle questions, but I tried to log on still from my cell and it gave me a 404 error. So maybe the next time we do it, I do think I'd like to have maybe my 2 laptops, one where I can sort of see some of the questions. And Shonda, you and I have talked about being able to text back and forth so that, hey, and the other thing that I was wondering is, should I be on camera? I was planning to be on camera, but if I'm looking at text messages and all this stuff, I'm not sure, but it feels like I should be on camera. What do folks think?
I think you should, but the problem is when you share the presentation, are people able to see you? Because I don't know what the other side looks like.
Well, here, let me share again, and I'm not super camera ready, but I will. Okay. Oh, all right. Let me see. So I'm going to share this. Oops.
Yep, I see you, but I see you in one of my little drop downs. What I see in the live event box is just the presentation.
So can folks in the participant world see me?
I can see you as a small picture, not a big picture. Yes.
And that'll probably be the way it is though, because you'll want to see my full screen here, right? And then maybe a little live. I can't see myself, but
see how does Sonia or Nydia or Laura or Jordan see you? Can they respond, Chandra, on the chat and tell us?
Yeah, I just sent that message in the chat.
There's a 20-second delay, just so that we all remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, and how am I sounding? Because I keep getting a couple pop-ups that say my quality isn't great. Am I coming across okay?
Oh, you sound good on my end.
How dare they, Chris? Who
I
said?
know.
For
No, it
real, you
sounds good on
sound
my
great.
end.
So Sonia doesn't see her. Steven says he cannot see you. Yeah. So no one
I
can
have
see
you,
you. So
I have you on my cell phone. This is Alex, and I can't see anything. I can't see you or the presentation.
Yeah, I think the phone's hard, but
I think the phone's hard.
It was,
Yeah, me
it was
too.
working before.
But you
Yeah.
guys can see everybody else can see the presentation is the first slide back.
Yep. I
Okay.
see it.
and then you're in the small box at the bottom, Chris, with the.
Yep.
Now you disappeared.
That's weird.
Now you're back.
Okay.
But I think that's just because we have you as presenters.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure the other side, because again, on my phone, I can see your presentation now, which is good, but I can't see you at all.
That's right, because you're looking on your phone as an attendee, right?
Correct, but I'm wondering if somebody on a computer that's in as an attendee can see Chris.
They cannot, because they just said we cannot see her. Several people said they can't see her.
So maybe we try again. Maybe we have some questions for it's Darby, right, with Microsoft, who we spoke to, and because I think you can hear me. So I'm looking at you can hear me. My everybody can hear me. You should be able to see me as well.
So do this. Stop sharing your screen and sharing the presentation rather, and just show you. And
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
That's what I just did. So the presentation should be gone.
Yeah, it is, but I don't see you.
You can't see me.
I mean, I see you here. Oh, here we go. And here's how I do it.
I see you, Chris.
Does everybody see Chris?
I just see Chris and not the presentation now.
Yep, exactly. Because what happened is she stopped sharing her screen, and then I connected her and sent her live. And so that's why I can now see her.
I would.
Steven cannot see you, and he's in as a normal visitor type person.
Yes, people should be able to see her in about 20 seconds.
Okay.
Because she's up.
And
I
so
see.
on the screen now, it says the
Yes,
live event will continue
Steven
in a
can
moment.
see you now.
Yep, it's the
Now
delay.
she's there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Steven can see you now.
Yep, so people can see her.
I would prefer the presentation than seeing. I mean, as much as I like seeing Chris, I think the presentation people are following makes more sense for the audience. I liked how it was the presentation without necessarily seeing the person. Unless at the end you're answering questions. If you're answering questions, Chris, maybe that's when you pop up or live. Maybe if you're comfortable with that. I mean, but I think that you do the presentation just the presentation, finish the presentation, then you personally come up for the public to ask questions, and then you pose the questions live like you are right now. Where we can see you. I think
it's a mix.
Yeah, and then the last point is we should probably put at the end of the presentation where the FAQ is going to be posted for folks to come back and look at.
Yeah.
It says for questions go to the public affairs, and then it should be FAQ will be posted within 48 hours at whatever wherever the site we're going to host to that.
That's right.
Maybe it's Chris comes on and you're on camera at the beginning before you start the presentation, and then you do the presentation. You share your screen and do the presentation, and at the end, I would venture to say that a lot of the questions you're going to have to go back to screens back and forth. Given the experience from Riverdale Park, right? They had questions and you wound up wanting to go back to different screens. So maybe you just stay on the presentation in case you need to toggle back and forth. Because once you have a camera, then you have a 20-second delay, and then you have to go back to the presentation. We might want to avoid that. Just a thought.
Yeah, and I think I see Sonia, if she's the small s, she says say hello and then switch over. I think that's right, if we can. I think the tricky thing will be, it's not even tricky, it's just going to be a little bit of toddling back and forth, because I think when we talked to the Microsoft gal, you know, rather than you guys, most of you signed on, it was the meeting's not started or whatever, some generic. And so rather than put something like the College Park Airport Safety Project meeting will begin in, you know, soon or shortly or whatever, then I pull that down. I put my camera on. Hi, thank you, welcome. And that's where I can, those are the opening remarks that I still have to sort of think through a little bit, but those are the opening remarks to give context, I think. And then I can share, hopefully I can share my screen and get into the actual presentation. Right?
Yep, that sounds good to me. So it'll start with, I will click on your box, your presenter box, send it live. It'll be what's on your screen first, which it'll be the College Park thing will start shortly. And then you will stop sharing your screen and just go into video and introduce yourself and introduce me. And then you'll go back to sharing your presentation, your screen to show the presentation, walk through the presentation, then at the end, stop the presentation to answer any questions that we get in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let's just do that real quick.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah.
Oh, you were gonna, well, maybe Shonda though, for sure. You and I, and maybe Alex and Ray will just do this once more, but folks, I'm assuming, like, folks can see my screen.
So I'm about to send live. The thing that says virtual meeting will start shortly. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you see it?
Yep.
Then you're gonna.
And Shonda, I think this is where we might text each other. You know what I mean? Like this is where it's I might say, you know, 1 minute to camera or whatever.
Yep.
So let's just say I did that 1 minute to 1 minute to camera. Now I'm gonna do this. And we have to remember that there is the delay though, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how the delay works. Again, that might be something that but hi everyone, my name is Chris Fanning. Thank you, I'm the Division Chief for National Historic Resources. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us to talk about the College Park Airport Safety Project. To give you a little context, X, Y, and Z. We'll be giving through about a 15-minute presentation, and we'll be able to take questions at the end. Blah, 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 blah.
Then you need to share your screen.
Thank you.
So this is Alex. The sharing of the screen between your presentation and the live camera was faster than 20 seconds, it seemed, which is good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're up with the presentation. Then you talk through it. Yep.
Right. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. And then, and now it's okay. So that concludes our presentation. Well, let me just get to this last, oops, shoot. Whatever, that concludes our presentation. And we'd like to take questions now for the next 10 or 15 minutes. Again, we probably won't be able to get to all of your questions, and especially those that require greater detail. We'll be posting an updated FAQ within 48 hours. So now I'll turn it over to Shonda, who will ask questions from the public.
All righty, so is there a slide on the purple line?
Oh, snap. I did Lauren just sent it to me. Lauren, I think I need to forward it to Laura Connolly. I know I do, is the next step. Right. So do we still want to try and do, like, throw it then to Laura? Or am I doing, remember it was supposed to be then Laura does Purple Line, but
Oh. Then yeah, I guess I could.
then, so do we, and then we wait and then we do questions? That seems,
I'm not a big fan of, you all know, I'm not a big fan of mixing this in. It's going to be, again, I think the Purple Line should have its own follow-up discussion. I know it's going to get confusing because there's issues and overlapping issues with the Purple Line, but Chris, you're talking about pausing and letting Laura do a slide or two about the Purple Line, right? Is that what we're talking about?
yeah, that's a mess to me. That feels like a big hot
I do
mess.
too. It'll log jam this whole conversation and take us off to a whole nother topic. But maybe at the end of the end of the questions, you say, this date there'll be a follow-up question related to Purple Line for those that are interested. And you could say that, Chris, and then have PP&D scheduled a time in the next couple of weeks when they want to do a Purple Line briefing, like we're doing this. That's my 2 cents. I don't like the idea of mixing the Purple Line in with this stuff. I'd rather just close out your final question to say, I know there's a lot of interest in questions about the Purple Line. On this date, there'll be another presentation on that topic, more to follow.
I agree.
Yeah, and I'm reading.
Laura says the
yeah.
same.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think we acknowledge it, but we don't go into it deep because that's just going to get crazy. I mean, that's going to get, so people asking questions about both, or then we ask Q&A and now, okay, hold on. Now we've got another presentation. So it's just, all right.
And they're going to start the FAQ then to include Purple Line stuff as well as the obstruction stuff. So again, I think it'd be a lot cleaner just to keep that as a separate talk presentation.
So Sonia just messaged and said that Glero specifically asked for it and that they were not planning a Purple Line meeting. So you don't really have anything to punt to, is the thing. If we have Laura talk about it, we will have to make her a presenter also, because she can't talk about it as a attendee.
Can Chris finish her whole topic, answer questions related to the obstructions, and then be done, and then Laura does her part on the Purple Line after Chris is done?
Yeah,
Yep,
like an official closeout of that part of the meeting. And
Yeah.
then, yeah.
And Chris hands the baton over to Laura, and then Laura takes it from there.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay.
So who all are listed as presenters in this conversation? I should add Kyle and Lee and Laura Connolly. Is that who I'm adding, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Laura, I'll send you what Lauren Bell just sent me. I think it looks all right, but all right. So I do think, as we've said, can we find time now, I guess, for Connolly, Kyle, and me to round back up as presenters, and then Alex and Shonda maybe as producers. Do you want Ray to be a producer, or would you want Ray to be like sort of somebody, and maybe Nydia to be in the
attendee area?
Yeah.
Ray can be in the attendee.
Yeah, that works.
What does Danielle expect with the Purple Line? Does she want a comprehensive Purple Line discussion, or does she just want Purple Line related to this particular area?
Yeah, so go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, from what I gathered, she just wanted us to at least bring it up because it is a topic that the residents out there are asking about, and it's too close to ours. So we need to take this time to kind of, in some ways, step ourselves out of it. At least that was my understanding. I'm hoping Sonia will chime in.
Yeah, she wrote it's the impact of the same area. And so even Glarus was like, maybe she wonders if some of the concerns or complaints that she's getting from the public, and I'm sure, I would imagine this is true because we haven't been doing anything for the last several months, but are really related to the purple line. So
Yeah.
And also BG&E's in the middle of doing some of their line clearing as well. At least that's what Scott and Brenda had mentioned before. So I think
So
BG&E's doing some of their tree clearing, tree trimming around the power lines is what I remember Brenda mentioning or somebody mentioning they're getting calls about too. But if they didn't bring it up in our discussion, I wouldn't muddy the waters with it.
There's a lot going on in that area.
But this is Alex. So is it something that needs to be set up front in some form or fashion, that there are a lot of things going on in this area and we're going to talk about what falls within our jurisdiction or responsibility or whatever the word is. And to make it clear what Chris just said, that we haven't done things for a few months now. Just to sort of lay the land of, when I answer the question of that isn't under our responsibility, that people don't get, start getting defensive or frustrated or angry, that they understand that there are other projects going on, or is that muddying the waters?
That, that's kind of what Sonia just recommended, is also maybe you emphasizing, Chris, that the work we did stopped early, so that they don't think that the work that's happening with trees is us.
Right. Yeah, so I think, I know that originally we were like, hey, should we have Laura intro, then throw to me, then throw to I just felt like a lot of transitions, Sonia. So I think, I don't know if you were on the last call, but I think we decided that I can set it up and set the expectations that, there's a lot of activity going on. So we want to make sure that everyone is clear on what work is related to the airport and what work is related to the purple line. So the first majority of this call will be covering the work that we are managing related to the airport and its safety. But at the end, after the Q&A related to this work, we'll introduce my colleague, Laura Connolly, who will give a brief overview of work that's being done by the Purple Line. It is being done on our property, so it's important that folks know the distinction between the two types of work, and if they have questions, where they should direct those. And then throw to Laura after my whole thing.
After your Q&A, yep. Sonia thought that was good.
Okay.
Okay, so what's next? I have a 4:30, that's why I asked.
Yeah, so I think, can I look on folks, or maybe Shonda, because you'll be sending out the invites. I'm pretty wide open on Wednesday. I know you do too, Shonda. It's something the directors call it 1, and I do want to I want to focus on the city council. I know it's one and the same, but it's actually 2 different messages, obviously. So if we could find time on Wednesday, maybe in the early part of the day, so that we can work through kinks and maybe even have a couple dry runs, that would be great. And I don't know if we want to. It would be maybe nice to invite. What's her name? It's not Logan. What's the gal's name with Microsoft?
Darby.
Darby. I mean, it might be nice to see her sort of see so that she can see us try and set this up in real time and offer any, I don't know if we need that or not. If we feel like we can just figure it out with a couple dry runs, I'm fine with that too. But
I think so.
All right. So can we look at, Shonda, do you want to look at folks' calendars for Wednesday and set up? Yep. Maybe it's an hour, but we can maybe set up, you can send 2 invites.
Yep. So I'm going to send 2 invites, those who need to be on the presenter side, who will see the back end of this, and those who will serve as attendees.
And I guess when I said 2 invites, I meant like if we have an hour block, can we act like, and can we have 2 dry runs during that time? So we'll do a dry
Oh,
run
okay.
at like noon, and then we'll work out kinks, and then hopefully we'll have a clean, because I feel like we might need 2 to have, I want to have like at least 1 clean run.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that, but also you still do need the 2 different invites because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
links are different.
But it'll be 4 total invites. Okay.
Hey, Chris, the interpretive signs have both been installed also. So when you're talking about those are done. When you're presenting the the outreach and education.
Okay,
And I
Awesome.
I sent you a
yep.
picture if you want to use it.
perfect. Okay, so that was a little rough, but we're figuring it out.
Yep.
Is that it? Are we good?
Yep, I think that's it. So then you'll say, thank you all for joining us. To learn more, go to pgparks.com.
Yeah, is there some more specific, Ray? Is there, I didn't know, is there more specific, something
Yeah, we gotta
like
get one. Yeah, we gotta get one.
Yes, there's a specific link. I can just forward it to you.
slash? Okay,
Yep, I'll just forward it to you.
okay.
Alrighty then, the moment I hit end, this is all over.
It's all over.
This is all over. Alrighty.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Nice job, Chris.
Yeah.
Yep,
It'll
great
get
job.
better.